Actually, I started out at Sony. I worked on Mark of Kri. It was a really cool melee game. Had a lot of fun on that. That's where I kind of cut my teeth. All the animators were traditionally trained, and I was actually kind of the exception. I had more of like the computer training background and everything. A few of the guys came from Don Bluth Studios, and they're just phenomenal animators, and they wanted to be able to animate the way that they're used to animating. And I knew enough about that to where I was like, oh, I know how I could put together a rig for you to do this or whatever. And at the same time, they were kind of training me and mentoring me on the animation side of things. The key principles I learned from those guys were, number one, golden moments. Always pick your golden moments in every single animation that you're doing. And by golden moment means, all right, this is going to be the pose. This is where everything hits the pinnacle of what this animation is supposed to convey to the person watching it or the person interacting with it. It was also really important when it came to 3D animation, especially game animation, because you're not restricted to one locked off camera. You have to make a pose look cool from every single angle. And so it's really important to pick that one spot and go for it. And then the other thing was just timing and spacing, learning where's the best place to actually apply your poses, what's the correct timing to get the type of impact you want versus spreading it out so that it gives the build-up that you want.
I'm only here because you wouldn't last a second without me.
I was on Jak and Daxter, Jak 2, and then part of Jak 3. I would model, I would rig, I would actually animate. I was doing everything, kind of keep my finger in mini pies, and I would do everything from actual like marketing pieces to cinematic pieces to in-game animation. I had a studio that I was running of my own in Orlando, Florida, and we went into casual games at the time when the market boomed, and so we just kind of ended up closing our doors. And at the time I was looking around, several really good friends of mine that I used to work with at Naughty Dog were working here at Sucker Punch, and they're like, well, you should come out here and check it out. And I'd interviewed other places, but this was the place that as soon as I came in, and the main thing was as soon as I got to talk to my friends and hear about the studio itself, it was a no-brainer. I came to the studio right when we started on I2. I came in as animation director at the time. The thing that draws me to animation in general and games is it totally appeals to my ADD. It's like everything's always changing at a moment's notice, where you have to always react to your surroundings and where things are going in the industry. And it's one of those things where the style of animation that they were wanting to inject into Infamous 2 was exactly the type of thing that I was interested in looking into. I was interested in figuring out what's some different tools for the toolbox when it comes to animation. What's some ways where we can utilize mocap but not use it as a crutch? And coming on here, the timing was perfect because it was something where it's like they were completely interested in the same exact thing. Because it's grounded realism that we're trying to portray. We really want to give a strong sense of if an ordinary person got powers, what would they do with them? But at the same time, there's some pretty fantastic stuff that's happening. And so we don't want to completely snub our nose to that sort of thing. So we as animators on our projects, we have to be able to have the range of going through and taking a completely imagined character, figuring out how they would move and how they would fit in a world with realistically moving characters, but then also have some of those realistic moving characters do things that are extraordinary. Yeah, no, so an example of us kind of picking a golden pose and working backwards from there in Infamous 2 was what I consider the signature free-running pose, which is, you know, legs up, arms back like that. And we wanted to hit that pose, and we wanted that to be a very signature thing for Cole. But at the same time, the way that our control schemes work and the way that we want the player to be able to feel like they can deflect at a moment's notice and have like really good control, we had to pick that pose and work backwards from there because everything else around it had to support it. That was one of those moments where that sort of training really helped me out. Whenever we went into everything with Delsin, and because he's this 24-year-old trying to figure out his place in the world, we really wanted to approach him as more of a reckless abandon type of guy. Basically, we'd ask ourselves a lot of the time is like, what if Johnny Knoxville had powers? It's not about trained motion. It's not about he grew up his entire life, you know, free running around. It's about the fact that he is completely getting off on the fact that he has powers. And what does that mean? It means he's going to go about doing stuff where it's like, you know what? I don't exactly know how to jump off of this cliff. I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. And that's a really big difference this time around. But anytime we would put flailing in there, it started to feel like he was completely out of control and a little bit goofy. So it was a really, you know, fine balance. I can't wait for people to like really get to meet Delsin Rowe, because he's a pretty cool guy.